Chosen ones, the spiritual realm is buzzing with news about you. The whispers in the dark corners of existence speak your name with trembling reverence. What once plotted your destruction now bows in silence. The very forces that sought to break you have become unwilling witnesses to your ascension. Here's what most people don't understand about spiritual warfare. Every attack you survived wasn't random chaos. It was calculated opposition from entities that recognized your potential before you did. They knew what you could become. They saw the divine fire within you and tried desperately to snuff it out before it could fully ignite. But here's the twist that changes everything. You didn't just survive their assault, you transcended it. Right now, as you hear these words, there's a shift happening in the unseen realms. The same forces that once hunted you now speak your name with careful respect. They move around you like shadows avoiding the sun. Your spiritual frequency has reached a level that commands their acknowledgement, not their aggression. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It was forged in the crucible of betrayal, loneliness, and battles that should have destroyed lesser souls. But you're no ordinary soul. You're a chosen one, and your journey through hell has equipped you with a presence that even demons cannot ignore. Like a sword that becomes stronger through fire, every strike against you only increased your spiritual authority. The revelation you're about to receive will explain why your enemies have grown strangely quiet, why those who once attacked you now seem to tread carefully around your energy, why you've noticed an unusual peace settling over situations that used to drain you. The spiritual mechanics behind this shift follow ancient laws that most never learn to harness. Your story mirrors the phoenix, but with a twist that makes you more dangerous to the dark forces than they ever anticipated. Where the mythical bird rises from ashes, you rose from betrayal itself. Where it burns and dies to be reborn, you burned away everything false while remaining fully alive. Now you walk with the accumulated power of every flame that tried to consume you, and that power has become your armor against the very darkness that created it. The battlefield has shifted. You're no longer the hunted. You've become the force that even shadows fear to approach. This is your story of transformation, told through the lens of spiritual law that governs how power recognizes power, even in the darkest realms. When the attacks first began, you thought you were losing your mind. The synchronicities felt too precise to be coincidence. People you trusted revealed hidden agendas, opportunities dissolved at the last moment. Even your dreams became battlegrounds where faceless entities seemed to test your resolve. You wondered if you had done something wrong, attracted negative karma, or somehow invited this spiritual chaos into your life. Every relationship that crumbled revealed its true foundation. Those who claimed to love you showed their conditional affection when your journey required choices they couldn't understand. Friends disappeared when your growth made them uncomfortable with their own stagnation. Family members turned against you when your transformation threatened the dysfunction they needed to maintain their false sense of control. But here's what they didn't understand about the spiritual mechanics of your elevation. Each person who abandoned you was actually clearing space for allies who could match your elevated frequency. Every door that closed in your face was redirecting you toward opportunities aligned with your higher purpose. Every loss was removing limitations that would have kept you trapped in smaller versions of yourself. The financial struggles that seemed to appear from nowhere weren't random bad luck. They were systematic attempts to keep you dependent on systems that required you to compromise your integrity for survival. The career sabotage that destroyed opportunities you'd worked years to build wasn't coincidence. It was calculated interference designed to keep you trapped in roles that would waste your true potential. Dark forces understand something that most humans miss completely. Your greatest power comes from your ability to remain aligned with truth, even when that alignment costs you everything the world says you need to be happy. They attacked your security, your relationships, your reputation, and your resources because they knew that if you could maintain your integrity through the loss of all external support, you would become spiritually untouchable. The truth cuts deeper than you realized. Those attacks were never about punishment. They were about recognition. Dark forces don't waste energy on people who pose no threat to their agenda. They reserve their calculated opposition for souls whose light could potentially disrupt their influence. Every spiritual attack you endured was actually a twisted form of acknowledgement. They saw what you were destined to become and tried to stop your evolution before it reached critical mass. But here's where their strategy backfired spectacularly. Each attack was meant to weaken your connection to divine source. Instead, it forced you to dig deeper into that connection for survival. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every lonely night strengthened your ability to stand alone in your truth. Every battle refined your spiritual weapons until you became a warrior they could no longer touch with the same tactics. The isolation you felt wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. While you sat in the silence of your own company, believing yourself forgotten, divine forces were actually fortifying your spirit. Like a blacksmith who heats metal to its breaking point before shaping it into something unbreakable, your darkest moments were the forge where your spiritual authority was hammered into existence. You emerged from that process carrying a frequency so pure, so aligned with higher purpose, that lower vibrational entities can no longer sustain themselves in your presence. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. The physical symptoms you experienced during your darkest battles weren't signs of weakness or mental instability. They were evidence of spiritual warfare being fought on levels most people never perceive. The exhaustion that seemed to drain you for no apparent reason was your energy being redirected to fight battles in realms beyond physical sight. The sleep disturbances that left you feeling more tired upon waking were your consciousness being summoned to defend yourself in dimensions where time operates differently. Those mysterious illnesses that doctors couldn't diagnose properly were your body processing the vibrational changes required for your spiritual elevation. Like a caterpillar dissolving into cellular soup before emerging as a butterfly, your entire energetic system was being restructured to handle frequencies that would have destroyed your previous capacity. The pain you felt was the growing pains of a soul expanding beyond its former limitations. The panic attacks that seemed to come from nowhere were actually your nervous system calibrating to higher dimensional awareness. The moments when you felt like you were losing your mind were glimpses of expanded consciousness that your brain hadn't learned to process yet. Every symptom was evidence that profound transformation was occurring on levels deeper than your conscious mind could comprehend. Now, when you look back on those experiences, you can see them for what they truly were. Not breakdowns, but breakthroughs. Not evidence of your weakness, but proof of your incredible strength. Not signs that you were losing the battle, but confirmation that you were winning a war most people don't even know is being fought. The first unmistakable sign that demons now respect your authority shows in how your dreams have transformed. Remember those nightmares where shadow figures seem to hunt you through endless corridors of fear? Track the evolution carefully. In the beginning, you ran, you hid, you woke up exhausted from battles you felt you were losing. But notice what happens now when darkness approaches you in the dream realm. Your dream self no longer flees. Instead, you turn to face whatever emerges from the shadows. Your voice carries weight when you speak. The attacking entities hesitate, then retreat. Some chosen ones report that the dark figures actually bow before backing away into the void they came from. This isn't fantasy or wishful interpretation. This is the spiritual realm's acknowledgement that you've transcended their ability to manipulate you, even in your most vulnerable state. The quality of your dreams has fundamentally shifted from reactive fear to proactive authority. Where once you were the victim being chased, you now move through dream landscapes as a sovereign presence that other entities must respect. Your subconscious mind, once a playground for negative forces, has become a fortress where only influences aligned with your highest good can gain entry. Some chosen ones discover they can now consciously direct their dream experiences, lucid dreaming not through technique, but through natural spiritual authority. Others find themselves being called into dreams specifically to help other souls who are still struggling with attacks in the dream realm. Your elevated consciousness in sleep becomes a beacon that guides lost dreamers towards safety and awakening. Dreams are the battlefield where many spiritual wars are won or lost because conscious defenses are supposedly lowered, but your elevated frequency maintains its authority even in sleep. The subconscious mind that once broadcast fear now radiates unshakable confidence. Dark entities that once saw your dreams as hunting grounds now find themselves facing a presence they cannot overpower or intimidate. The second sign manifests in the profound silence that falls when you enter spaces where opposition once thrived. This isn't the awkward quiet of social discomfort. This is the heavyweight spiritual silence that occurs when lower vibrational forces encounter an energy they cannot match. Watch how conversations shift when you arrive. Notice how people with hidden agendas suddenly lose their ability to articulate their manipulative schemes. Observe how toxic individuals find excuses to leave your presence. This silence extends beyond human interactions. The very atmosphere responds to your elevated frequency. Spaces that felt heavy with negative energy begin to clear. Rooms where arguments regularly erupted somehow maintain peace when you're present. Even locations with dark histories seem to settle into calm when your energy establishes dominance over whatever spiritual residue was feeding chaos and conflict. Your presence has become a purifying force that works automatically. You don't need to consciously try to clean negative energy from spaces. Your spiritual signature does it naturally, like light dispelling darkness, simply by existing. This automatic influence demonstrates that your authority operates on levels deeper than conscious intention. You've become a walking sanctuary that provides refuge for anyone seeking escape from lower vibrational influences. The workplace dynamics that once drained you completely have transformed in ways that seem almost miraculous. Colleagues who used to create constant drama somehow lose their power to generate chaos when you're involved in projects. Meetings that typically devolved into unproductive conflict somehow maintain focus and reach positive conclusions when you participate. Even office politics that once consumed entire departments seem to settle into more constructive patterns when your energy is consistently present. The third sign reveals itself in the complete recalibration of energy that occurs when you step into any environment. It's not subtle, it's a dramatic shift that even spiritually insensitive people notice and comment on. The tension dissolves, the heaviness lifts. An unexplainable clarity fills the air, as if someone opened windows in a room that had been sealed for years. This recalibration happens because your elevated consciousness carries the authority to establish spiritual order wherever you go. Dark entities cannot maintain their influence in spaces where your frequency dominates. They don't just become uncomfortable, they become unable to function. Like germs exposed to antibiotics, their ability to spread chaos and feed off negative emotions simply shuts down in your presence. People report feeling inexplicably peaceful around you, even if they're normally anxious or aggressive individuals. They sense that something oppressive has been removed from their environment, though they can't articulate what changed. Some describe it as feeling like they can finally breathe deeply for the first time in months. Others say it's like a weight they didn't know they were carrying, suddenly lifted from their shoulders. Even animals respond to your transformed energy signature. Pets that were previously aggressive or fearful around humans become calm in your presence. Wild animals seem less startled by your approach. It's as if your elevated frequency communicates safety and peace in a language that transcends species barriers. This universal recognition of your peaceful authority extends to all living beings that can sense spiritual frequencies. This transformation of spaces isn't limited to your immediate physical presence. Locations where you spend significant time begin to maintain higher vibrational frequencies even when you're not there. Your energy leaves an imprint that continues to repel negative influences and attract positive outcomes. Houses where you live become sanctuaries. Workplaces where you're employed experience less conflict and more productivity. Even public spaces you frequent regularly seem to develop an atmosphere of peace that others notice and appreciate. The fourth sign emerges in how even your detractors now speak of your strength with grudging acknowledgement. Those who once dismissed you as weak or broken find themselves unable to deny the obvious transformation. They may not like you, they may resent your success or envy your peace, but they cannot pretend that you haven't become something formidable. Their very words, even when spoken with bitterness, become testimonies to your spiritual elevation. Listen to how their language has changed. Where once they might have called you naive or foolish, they now speak of your stubbornness or inflexibility. Where they once saw weakness, they now acknowledge strength, even if they frame it negatively. This shift in their perception reflects the spiritual reality that your authority can no longer be ignored or minimized, even by those who wish it weren't true. The most telling evidence comes from observing how your former adversaries behave when they think you're not watching. They speak differently about you in private conversations. The mocking tone has been replaced by wary respect. The casual dismissal has transformed into careful consideration of how their actions might affect you. They've learned through repeated experience that underestimating you leads to consequences they'd rather avoid. Some of your former opponents have actually become advocates, though they may never admit this transformation publicly. They find themselves defending your character when others try to attack your reputation. They redirect conversations away from criticism of your choices. They subtly discourage others from taking actions that might bring them into conflict with your elevated energy. This protective behavior isn't conscious loyalty. It's spiritual recognition that aligning against you puts them on the wrong side of forces they can't afford to oppose. Their reluctant respect isn't born from admiration. It's the result of watching you endure what should have destroyed you and emerge stronger each time. They've seen their attempts to break you fail repeatedly. They've witnessed your refusal to stay down, no matter how many times you were knocked off course. Even your enemies now understand that you possess something unbreakable, something that makes you dangerous to their plans and impossible to dismiss. This recognition from adversaries serves as external confirmation of what you've always known deep inside. You are not ordinary. You were not designed for mediocrity or defeat. The very fact that such powerful opposition was mobilized against you proves that you carry potential that threatens systems built on deception and control. Their acknowledgement of your strength validates everything you've survived and overcome. But here's where most chosen ones make a critical error in understanding their new position. This respect from dark forces isn't the end goal. It's not a trophy to display or an achievement to celebrate. It's a sign that you've graduated to a level of spiritual responsibility that requires wisdom, humility, and unwavering commitment to serving something greater than personal vindication. The spiritual laws governing this transformation operate on principles that most never learn to access. Like recognizes like, power acknowledges power. But divine authority differs fundamentally from earthly dominance or demonic influence. Your elevated position comes with obligations that separate true chosen ones from those who merely survive difficult experiences. Dark forces respect strength because they understand its language. They don't respond to pleading, bargaining, or attempts to reason with them through human logic. They respond to the presence of someone who has learned to wield divine authority with unwavering conviction. Your trials taught you this language fluently, though you may not have realized you were learning it through your pain. The respect you now command operates according to spiritual hierarchy that exists beyond human understanding. Every realm recognizes levels of authority based on the source of power and the purpose for which it's wielded. Your authority emanates from divine alignment, earned through genuine transformation, tested through authentic suffering, and proven through consistent choice of love over hate, truth over deception, growth over stagnation. This is why your presence now disrupts negative systems automatically. Your energy signature broadcasts your spiritual rank to every entity capable of perceiving such frequencies. Lower vibrational beings instinctively understand they're in the presence of someone whose authority supersedes their own. They don't consciously analyze this recognition, they simply find themselves unable to maintain their usual tactics when confronted with your elevated consciousness. Your financial situation has probably transformed in ways that seem to defy normal economic logic. Money that was once scarce begins flowing more freely. Opportunities that were previously blocked start opening effortlessly. Resources you need for your mission appear through unexpected channels. This isn't luck or coincidence, it's the universe responding to your elevated frequency by aligning material support with your spiritual authority. The generational curses that once seemed to trap your bloodline in repetitive patterns of struggle have begun breaking under the weight of your transformation. Family members who were locked in destructive cycles start making different choices without understanding why. Patterns of addiction, poverty, abuse and failure that plagued your lineage for generations suddenly lose their power when they encounter the elevated frequency you now carry. Your very existence has become a circuit breaker for negativity that tries to perpetuate itself through your family line. Children in your bloodline who haven't even been born yet will benefit from the spiritual work you've done to elevate your consciousness. The healing you've accomplished reaches backward to comfort ancestors who died in pain and forward to protect descendants who will inherit a cleaner spiritual legacy. Your journey through the dark night of the soul wasn't random suffering designed to break you. It was a precisely orchestrated curriculum meant to develop specific spiritual capacities that can't be gained through study, meditation retreats, or positive thinking seminars. Every betrayal was a masterclass in discernment. Every abandonment taught you to find God in solitude. Every attack revealed hidden reserves of courage and faith you never knew existed within you. The loneliness you endured wasn't punishment for unknown sins. It was preparation for a level of spiritual responsibility that requires tremendous inner strength. Leaders who serve at the highest levels must be able to stand alone when necessary, to make difficult decisions without popular support, to maintain their integrity when everyone around them chooses compromise. Your isolation developed these capacities within you. The battles you fought in the dark weren't meaningless struggles against random opposition. They were training exercises for the larger conflicts you're now equipped to address. Like a soldier who masters basic combat before being entrusted with advanced weaponry, your personal victories prepared you for spiritual warfare on behalf of others who aren't yet strong enough to defend themselves. The healing you accomplished within yourself created the template for healing you can now facilitate in others. Every wound you transformed into wisdom becomes a tool for helping someone else navigate similar pain. Every lie you replaced with truth becomes a weapon against deception wherever you encounter it. Every fear you conquered becomes courage you can share with those still trapped in anxiety and doubt. Your elevated spiritual position comes with both privileges and responsibilities that most never fully comprehend. The privilege is living with the unshakable knowing that you're aligned with forces greater than any opposition you might face. No weapon formed against you can prosper because your mission is secured by divine decree. No scheme designed to destroy you can succeed because your purpose is protected by laws that supersede human plotting. The responsibility is using that alignment to serve the highest good rather than personal preferences or limited perspectives. Real spiritual authority always flows downward in service. Those who hoard their power or use it primarily for personal benefit discover that it begins to diminish. Those who channel it toward healing, protection, and elevation of others find that it multiplies beyond their ability to contain. This is the test that determines whether your transformation is genuine or merely the result of developing a stronger ego. True chosen ones understand that they've become conduits for divine will rather than sources of power in their own right. They wield tremendous authority, but always in service of love, truth, and the elevation of human consciousness. Their strength makes them dangerous to darkness, not because they seek to dominate, but because they have the capacity to starve evil of the fear and division it needs to survive. The silence you now experience from former enemies isn't coincidence or wishful thinking. It's the natural response of forces that have recognized they're outmatched. Like predators that instinctively avoid animals higher up the food chain, lower vibrational entities sense something in your energy signature that warns them away. They don't consciously analyze this decision. They simply find themselves avoiding confrontation with someone whose spiritual authority has grown beyond their ability to challenge. Your presence has become a transformative force that works automatically without conscious effort on your part. When you walk into spaces where negativity has been festering, that energy begins to dissipate simply because it cannot coexist with the frequency you now carry. People notice these shifts even if they can't articulate what's happening. They feel lighter in your presence, more hopeful, more connected to their own higher potential. This automatic influence extends to situations as well as people. Projects that seemed cursed begin to flow smoothly when you become involved. Conflicts that appeared intractable find resolution when you participate in the conversation. Resources that were blocked somehow become available. It's as if your elevated consciousness creates a field effect that aligns circumstances with higher good rather than chaos and limitation. The most profound indicator of your transformation lies in how you now respond to new attacks or challenges. Where once you might have felt fear, anger, or desperation, you now experience a deep calm that comes from knowing your spiritual position. Attacks bounce off your energy field like arrows hitting reinforced steel. Attempts to manipulate your emotions meet a centered presence that remains unshaken. Efforts to drag you into lower vibrational conflicts find no purchase in your elevated consciousness. This doesn't mean you've become passive or emotionally numb. If anything, your responses are more powerful because they come from choice rather than reaction. When you speak truth, it carries the weight of someone who has earned the right to wield that truth through lived experience. When you set boundaries, they're respected because they emanate from an authority that has been tested and proven unbreakable. When you offer compassion, it carries healing power because it flows from a heart that has been purified through its own healing journey. Your story has entered its climactic chapter, but it's not the ending you might have expected. Instead of riding off into the sunset to enjoy a peaceful retirement from spiritual battle, you're being called to step into your role as a protector whose very presence shifts the balance between light and darkness. The battles you fought in private have prepared you for conflicts that affect entire communities, bloodlines, even nations. The spiritual protection that now surrounds you operates like an impenetrable fortress that extends to cover those who align themselves with your mission. Family members who once seemed trapped in destructive patterns suddenly find strength to break free when they spend time in your presence. Colleagues who were drowning in workplace toxicity discover unexpected courage to stand up for themselves after working closely with you. Even strangers who encounter you briefly report feeling mysteriously uplifted and protected for days afterward. This protective field isn't something you consciously project. It's the natural result of your elevated frequency, creating a buffer zone where negative forces cannot penetrate. Like a lighthouse that automatically guides ships to safety without effort from the lighthouse keeper, your transformed consciousness provides refuge for anyone seeking escape from spiritual storms. The intercession that flows through you now reaches levels that most humans never access in a lifetime. When you pray for others, miracles happen. When you speak blessings over situations, they transform in ways that defy logical explanation. When you declare protection over vulnerable people, their enemies mysteriously lose interest or power. This isn't ego or wishful thinking. It's the demonstrable authority of someone whose prayers carry the weight of divine partnership. Chosen one. Anyone can listen to messages like these, but few will step into their true power. We are here to help you do just that. The weekly Chosen Ones group calls are now on Zoom, and this is the moment you've been waiting for your entire life. These meetings are literal power vortexes, where destinies are forged, where chosen ones unite their consciousness to create something that cannot exist in isolation. This is where everything changes. This is where you step into your greatness. Every week a doorway opens, but only for those brave enough to step through it. Watcher-level members of the Obsidian Inner Order can experience these transformative sessions live, feeling the energy surge through your entire being. In our most recent gathering, participants were stunned by revelations about the Great Pyramids of Giza as sophisticated ancient power plants, and the shocking truth about Washington, D.C.'s layout perfectly aligning with the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. Star Chamber members receive unlimited access to the complete recordings archive, a treasure trove of wisdom that grows more valuable with each passing week. This is your defining moment. The knowledge, the connection, the power that flows through these calls cannot be found anywhere else. Join the Obsidian Inner Order now, link in the description. While the few remaining Star Chamber slots are still available, your presence is not just welcome, it's necessary. Will you answer the call that has been echoing through your soul? The time is now. The entities that once attacked you personally now watch to see how you'll use your hard-won authority. They respect your power because they recognize its source. They know you didn't gain this elevation through shortcuts, manipulation, or empty spiritual posturing. You earned it through genuine transformation, authentic healing, and unwavering commitment to growth, even when growth meant facing your deepest fears and greatest pain. This recognition extends beyond dark forces to include beings of light who have been waiting for you to reach this level of development. Guardian angels, ascended masters, and divine messengers who couldn't fully connect with you while your frequency was still partially anchored in victim consciousness, now find you ready for advanced spiritual assignments. Your communication with higher realms becomes clearer because your channel is no longer cluttered with unresolved trauma and unconscious fears. The synchronicities that now flow through your life aren't random coincidences, but carefully orchestrated divine guidance designed to position you for maximum impact. The right people appear at precisely the moment you need them. Resources materialize through unexpected channels exactly when your mission requires them. Doors that were once firmly closed swing open with supernatural timing that defies logical explanation. Your capacity to heal others through prayer, touch, or simple presence has developed to levels that astound even yourself. People report physical ailments disappearing after spending time with you. Emotional wounds that therapists struggled to address for years suddenly resolve through conversations with your elevated consciousness. Spiritual bondage that held individuals captive for decades breaks when they align themselves with your mission and energy. This healing power isn't something you manufacture or control. It flows through you from the same divine source that transformed your own wounds into wisdom. Like a clear channel that no longer distorts the signal passing through it, your purified consciousness allows healing energy to reach others without being corrupted by personal agenda or limited understanding. The prophetic dreams and visions that many chosen ones experience at this level aren't meant to satisfy curiosity about the future. They're strategic intelligence briefings designed to help you navigate spiritual territories and prepare for assignments that require advanced warning. These divine downloads often come with specific instructions about timing, positioning, and resources needed to fulfill your role in larger cosmic purposes. Some chosen ones receive detailed insights about global events, spiritual movements, or societal shifts that won't manifest for months or years. Others are shown specific individuals they'll encounter who need healing, protection, or guidance. The visions serve as navigation tools for a consciousness operating beyond the limitations of linear time and three-dimensional space. The chosen ones who have reached this level of spiritual development share certain unmistakable characteristics that set them apart from those still struggling with basic survival. They move through the world with quiet confidence that needs no external validation. They speak truth without apology, but also without unnecessary harshness. They're fiercely protective of innocence while being compassionately firm with those who would exploit it. They carry authority lightly, like a favorite garment worn so naturally that others barely notice its exceptional quality. Most importantly, they understand that their power exists to serve something greater than themselves. The respect they command from dark forces isn't an end goal but a byproduct of their commitment to divine purpose. They don't seek to dominate or control, but to create conditions where truth can flourish and healing can occur. Their presence disrupts darkness, not through aggression, but through the simple power of being authentically aligned with light. The journey that brought you to this point follows a pattern that appears in the lives of every genuine chosen one throughout history. First comes the calling, often experienced as a deep sense of purpose that doesn't match your current circumstances. Then comes the preparation, disguised as trials that seem designed to destroy rather than develop you. Next comes the testing, where your commitment to growth is challenged by every conceivable form of opposition. Finally comes the elevation, where your transformed consciousness begins to influence the world around you in ways that benefit others more than yourself. You've completed this cycle and emerged with spiritual authority that commands respect from forces both seen and unseen. But this achievement marks a beginning rather than an end. The real work of a chosen one doesn't start until they've developed the capacity to handle divine power without being corrupted by it. Everything you've experienced until now was preparation for a mission that only you can fulfill. The whispers in the spiritual realm speak your name with reverence now because they recognize what you've become, not because you've joined the ranks of those who use power to serve themselves, but because you've transcended their ability to touch you with the same weapons they use against ordinary souls. Your authority comes from divine alignment, your power from authentic transformation, and your future from unlimited potential that opens when someone truly commits their life to serving love over fear. Your presence now serves as a beacon that guides other lost souls toward their own healing and empowerment. Your story of transformation becomes a roadmap that others can follow when they're ready to begin their own journey from victim to victor. The respect you command from demons proves that you've moved beyond being a target to becoming a guardian, beyond seeking protection to providing it for others who still struggle in darkness. This is your moment, chosen one. The spiritual realm has taken notice. Your enemies have grown quiet. Your allies have revealed themselves. The path forward requires courage, wisdom, and an unshakable commitment to serve something greater than yourself. But you've already proven you possess these qualities through the crucible of experiences that brought you to this elevated position. Walk forward knowing that even demons respect who you've become, not because you've embraced darkness, but because you've transcended their ability to influence you. Your authority flows from divine source, your mission serves eternal purposes, and your transformed consciousness now carries the power to shift entire spiritual atmospheres simply by being authentically aligned with truth. The universe itself watches to see what you'll do with this hard-won authority. Make sure the legacy you build honors the divine source from which your power flows. Your journey through hell has equipped you for heaven's work. Your trials have prepared you for triumph. Your transformation has only just begun to reveal its full potential and purpose. Step into your destiny, chosen one. Even the demons know who you are now.